Good afternoon, morning or evening, whatever it is for you. Steve here, and this video will be reading from the book Attuned, Practicing Interdependence to Heal Our Trauma and Our World, Thomas Hübl, mystic and trauma therapist, kind of like many of us. Although we're all amazing on some level, he's just on another level. And to be able to put all this stuff in just succinct verbiage, it's amazing. That's a presence incorporating a really bright mind. Okay, so in the last video I just did, he's talking about the kind of the vertical access of the present and the future, and what happens on the horizontal axis when we have a overwhelming event or trauma. I'm trying to make that level, but I can't. Oh well, there, sort of level. I'm crooked, but it's level. And so at that point where the trauma happens, there's a breaking off. And to one side goes the unconscious photographed memory of the trauma with all of its energetics that are not yet released. And on the other side, we create a fake future based on unresolved past. Many of us are living in that fake future based on unresolved past. Up here is the present future. So here's the present, and then as we go along, it's going to be present, 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 unless we hit that trauma and we split off and we create a unconscious memory of the trauma that we hold, which then projects into the lateral future this fake future based on unresolved trauma. Okay, that's about as good as I could do. So he goes on from that, and he talks about, he says, think of it as a bioenergetic record that contains the undigested energy of the trauma. It is a voluble piece of the self in space-time, which becomes frozen or arrested and split away. This is not to say that it goes away. Oh no. You might just think about it as that thing you find in the freezer that you're wondering what it was when you put it in there. But now it doesn't resemble anything, but it's there. It's just a metaphor or a metaphor. This is not to say that it goes away. It can't. For as long as that trauma aspect remains undigested, a part of the soul's energy remains frozen in time, stuck in shadow and buried in the body. I don't remember if I said, hi, this is Steve. So, hi, this is Steve. Now that can be buried in the body and frozen in time. Much like dark matter, trauma's shadow is not visible to the naked eye. It can only be observed by its effects on the surrounding system. Suppressed too long, this dark, undigested substance has a way of re-emerging in the guise of discomfort, disorder, illness, or disease. The main thing we notice, whether we study the body, the psyche, or the soul, is that unresolved trauma creates dysregulated emotions and out of balance responses to one's immediate environment and the people in it. We refer to these as post-traumatic symptoms, and they manifest at the extremes of a continuum. On one end, we see hyperarousal, the elevation of the fight, flight, or freeze response. A person in this state may experience increased anxiety, irritability, and or aggression, or a tendency for hypervigilance, e.g., perpetually scanning the environment for potential danger. Here, the nervous system's innate sympathetic response to stress or danger appears to have been hacked or hijacked so that it is always on. On the other end of the spectrum, we see hypoarousal. Here, the nerve system's parasympathetic shutdown response gets hacked. And in the aftermath of trauma, a person may simply shut down, dissociate, or appear numb. This person may express apathy and detachment and may potentially suffer from depression. Of course, the same individual can express both hyper and hypoarousal symptoms at different times or in different areas of life. Trauma is like a crazy scene in a movie that's suddenly been put on mute. The drama's still going, but there's no sound. Then someone grabs the television and throws it in the ocean. Slowly it sinks into darkness, the unconscious, where the same scene replays without end. Makes you just want to resolve these things, doesn't it? Yeah. I've spent 50 Freudian or Jungian, 55 years of my life working out traumas, releasing and integrating traumas. It's been good. I recommend it. I recommend a good teacher or instructor. Like any continuum, the extremes alone are not the whole picture. Unforeseen circumstances or signals in the environment may suddenly activate or trigger either set of responses in the same traumatized person, and again in different ways at different times. For anyone dealing with unresolved trauma, the dysregulation of the nervous system and emotions can make it difficult to maintain healthy relationships, even with oneself. This is perhaps the greatest consequence of trauma, its impact on one's ability to connect and relate, to feel safety and belonging and togetherness, and therefore to grow. Because in order to grow, and I'm just paraphrasing this, in order to grow, we need the ability to connect and relate, to feel safety and belonging and togetherness. That's the space in which we can grow. And when we don't have that, we don't grow. So you'll see the same pattern, the same person just getting older, but the behaviors are the same. Yet post-traumatic activations can be looked at another way. When a person becomes suddenly triggered in response to the environment, the original energetic snapshot of undigested trauma may surface, not simply because there's an injury, but as an opportunity to fulfill yet another evolutionary function of the nerve system to reincorporate undigested energy back into the living system. This is the self-healing function of integration. Self-healing function of integration. I don't know anyone who uses language better than Thomas Hübl. And I am a master practitioner, blah, 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 of neurolinguistic programming, which I studied for 7 years. It's like going to graduate school in understanding language, understanding tonality, understanding the effect of our internal talk, the effect it has on ourselves and what we do in the world. I'm not smart enough. There's no way I'm ever going to figure this out. All that stuff that limits and contracts us and keeps us from having the life that we feel our soul is pulling us towards. When we bring consciousness to bear on this process, in other words, witness, we discover still higher evolutionary capacities that aid repair. In particular, we awaken the soul's innate ability to help heal others. My wish is that you enjoy this book as much as I do. And we will continue to enjoy it together. I already know of 2 books being purchased as a result of these readings. And boy, well, I'm going to be reading it to you, and you can go back and listen to, from the beginning. I do let you know what I'm putting in my own words that correlate to what I'm reading. But mainly it's just, giving an introduction and then reading Thomas's words, and it's going to just continue in this way. Give an introduction, read Thomas's words, and healing together. And I suggest that we all practice what he preaches. See if it works for us. And we have, I think it's coming up on 9 more months. So April, May, June. So 9 more months to complete the spiritual cleanse that each of us is going through because of the rise in vibration on the planet. And boy, I went to the supermarket today and I felt like I was in Zombieville. And I wasn't feeling like a zombie. I wasn't feeling like I was projecting my zombiness. I just felt like the whole group in the store were depressed. And didn't seem like they were able to think. And all these people had masks on again because they watched the news, and now they're worried about maybe the bird flu. Who could make this stuff up? Drug dealers. They make this shit up because they sell a lot of drugs and they make a lot of money. And then if people happen to be harmed by the drugs, they make a lot of money selling other drugs to help the people recover from the drugs that they were given earlier. That's how it works. That's how drug dealers work. And if they lose someone, they person already paid for their drugs. And we're just going to keep it on. Keep holding a vision of a bright and beautiful future while we experience whatever it is we experience in the now. And we'll just keep getting over our unresolved traumas, release and integrate, release and integrate, release and integrate, and eventually namaste.